The Cleveland Cavaliers were at one point an elite NBA franchise, but ever since LeBron James left, the Cavs just have not been the same team. They have drafted a string of guards in Darius Garland, Dylan Windler, and Colin Sexton, a very interesting move by the front office. The Cavs are a rebuilding team in an interesting situation, with an aging Kevin Love and an expiring Andre Drummond. They have top 3 lottery odds currently, and a solid young core to build around. This team has an interesting offseason ahead of them, so let's get into it. The Cavs just this year fired their head coach John Beilein, as the players had very little interest playing for him. He called his players a bunch of thugs during a film session, and he was fired after a record of 14-40. So the Cavs need to look for a replacement. The first coach the Cavs will look at would be J.B. Bickerstaff, who replaced Beilein after his firing. He has assistant coaching experience with teams like the Hornets, Rockets, and Timberwolves, and he would bring some familiarity to the Cavs, which could be something they look for with their young players. The next option we look at would be David Fizdale, but I don't think anybody deserves to go through this. However, he's worth mentioning because I could definitely see the Cavs making this move and signing David Fizdale, but he's just so bad. But anyways, that brings us to our next coaching option, and that would be Ettore Messina. He was named one of the EuroLeague's top 10 coaches of all time, winning 4 EuroLeague titles. In addition, he was an assistant under Popovich, and Popovich knows a smart guy when he sees one, so if Pop trusts him, so do I. And just considering the options, considering what's available, I think Ettore Messina is a great coach for the Cavs, and he fits exactly what they're looking for. And he's going to do some good things with this organization, and he would be the move. But moving on from the head coach, we enter the draft lottery. The Cavs currently have the second worst record in the league behind the Golden State Warriors, and if they stick with this pick, they have a few different options they could go with. Assuming stud shooting guard Anthony Edwards goes with the first overall pick, the Cavs should either target Obi Toppin or James Wiseman. On a side note, it's very likely James Wiseman could go to the Warriors at 1, but we just think Anthony Edwards is by far the best player in this class. Anyways, although they traded for Drummond at the trade deadline, we just don't really think he's going to re-sign with the Cavs. And although they do have Kevin Love, Obi Toppin would make sense because Love is likely going to be traded in the offseason. But we'll get to that later. Ultimately, we think that with the second pick, the best option for the Cavs would be to select center of the future, James Wiseman. It really came down to Toppin, Wiseman, and Edwards, but we just think they have too many guards already, and we do think Edwards will probably go 1. So it really came down to Wiseman or Toppin, and Wiseman is probably just the better player. He compares to a DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid type player who can dominate you in the paint and also hit the 3-ball. Moving on, we have a trade for the Cavs. Obviously, Kevin Love is way past his prime, and his contract is not good, and the Cavs should definitely look to trade him to a contender. So, we think the Miami Heat are a perfect destination for Kevin Love. They're a win-now team, and they need some star power and veteran experience, and we think Kevin Love would be a great fit there. The Cavs would receive Kelly Olynyk and their 2020 first-round pick, which would be post-lottery, so around the 20th pick. The Cavs are looking to hit the reset button and get off Kevin Love's contract, and the Heat are in win-now mode, so Love will help them to contend in the East. Love can still contribute on the offensive end, and he's going to be a great fit alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, considering Butler is a gritty type of player and Love is more of a finesse stretch 4. Later in the draft, with the Heat pick, the Cavs should look to take Jaden McDaniels. Jaden will be a nice versatile forward for the Cavs who will fill the hole left by Kevin Love. McDaniels might not start right away considering Larry Nance Jr. is on the team, but he can come off the bench and receive minutes or possibly spend some time in the G League if necessary. Moving on to the next phase in the offseason for the Cavs, we got to look at team player options. In terms of this, we think that Drummond will decline his player option and look to sign with a contending team that offers him the most amount of money. Drummond spent all those years suffering with Detroit, so he's probably going to look to go to a contender. In addition to this, the Cavs should look to accept Ante Zizic's team option for $3.87 million, which is good enough for a serviceable center off the bench or possibly a young trade piece. When it comes to qualifying offers, they should not give one to Dean Wade or Matt Mooney. Not a lot of potential there and just no point bringing them back. As for any other free agents the Cavs have to re-sign, the Cavs should just look to pass on Tristan Thompson and Matthew Dellavedova, as the money doesn't really match the talent or the age. It's not worth it for Cleveland. Moving on to free agency, the Cavs are in need of some three-point shooting, so that's why we're going to have them sign the Latvian laser himself, Davis Bertans. Garland and Sexton are more ball-handling type players, and Wiseman will be their rim-rolling center, who does have three-point shooting capabilities, but should by no means be the best shooter on the team. And Bertans can come in and knock down a bunch of threes. They should sign Bertans to a short-term 1+1 type of contract worth about $15 million a year. This will take up some of their cap space, and if they like what they see, they can bring him back. The Cavs also need a backup point guard and shooting guard, but they need someone who can come in and mentor Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. So some nice pickups would be Goran Dragic on a one-year deal worth about $10 million, and shooting guard Alex Burks worth about the same. Both can come in and score off the bench and teach the youngsters all that they know. So looking at the roster post-free agency, the starting lineup looks like this. Darius Garland at point guard, Sexton at shooting guard, Kevin Porter at small forward, Davis Bertans at power forward, James Wiseman at center. Off the bench, you have Goran Dragic, Jaden McDaniels, Alec Burks, Kelly Olynyk, and Larry Nance. Honestly, I'm going to say it. This team is not very good, but they're setting themselves up to be. When you look at this team, there are some promising young players, but they're too young to win now. What this offseason does for them is it sets them up for 2021 with guys like Giannis, Kawhi, and Paul George. This is going to be another year for their guys to develop, but honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. If this team wants to compete anytime soon, they have to be patient and commit to the rebuild and let Garland, Sexton, Porter, Bertans, and Wiseman all start and develop. Guys like Dragic, Burks, and Olynyk will be nice mentors along their way. They probably will have another top pick next year as well, but that's not a bad thing. There is some hope in the city of Cleveland. They just have to believe in their young guys and let them shine. That's the key to success. But thanks for watching. Once again, hit the subscribe button. Please drop a like. It helps us out more than you would think. Thank you. We'll see you next time.